Am I able even to quantify what I'm trying to say, that the individualistic interest in the SHA project? So the first thing I did, I went on ahead and I did a deep dive on what NHIF was, or rather, the flaws of NHIF. So I came to realize that some of the flaws, NHIF and SHA have the same structure or have the same goal at heart on, in terms of offering services and in terms of helping, people not to be at a place whereby they're constrained with catastrophic illnesses and all that. So I was like, okay, let me go on ahead and do like a deep dive. Why did the NHIF not work? So I went on ahead and I was like, okay, let me do like a deep dive. So the reason Australian NHIF didn't quite work, or rather it wasn't quite effective, we can't say that it didn't work. NHIF was an amazing model. And I remember the last podcast, we talked about specifically the issue here is not policies.
Yeah.
The issue here rather is the people. So I was like, okay, let me go on ahead, do a deep dive on NHIF. So NHIF, the reason as to why it was quite not efficient was lack of civic education. People didn't used to actually have knowledge about the benefits of the NHIF. Second of all, some of the resource allocation, there was quite delays in terms of money being allocated to, the service providers and all that. The third problem was there were limited hospital in which NHIF covered. Ilikuwa only specific locations. Unajua, haikuanga kila hosi ina accept NHIF. So I started asking myself this question. So this is a system that, in all honesty, if these were the defaults or the downfalls of it, or the faultiness of this system, a common sense individual will be like, there's no need for me to do away with this project. Let me go on ahead and use this a particular resource and kind of sort of patch things up in the NHIF. Being Kenya is a third world developing country. You don't have the luxury of spending extra resources on other projects, while at hand we have so many bugging things at. So I was like, okay, let me go on ahead and research more about the SHA model. In the manifesto of the SHA model, it's just so quite interesting how they describe it. It was a model that was based off of law. I'm like, really? It wasn't really based. It's not really based out of law. They went on ahead, talked about the same things that the NHIF was standing for. Now I was like, okay, so there's something unique, there's something interesting happening here. I was like, okay, why would then someone advocate for this system, being in a third world country, having limited resources? Why would you go on ahead and lobby so much for this system? So I was like, let me go on ahead and see who are actually to benefit from SHA, or rather the project, the stakeholders of SHA. So this is where the twist is coming in, and the how can I call how fucked up this thing is by tuanze na SHA. So SHA has 4 stakeholders. Opiero Limited. There's another tech company, I can't quite remember. There's Safaricom, and then another organization. So I started following a paper trail. I was like, okay, this Opiero Limited company, I was like, when was this company established? To my surprise, it was established 2024. July. Imagine. I was like, for you to give such a company a stake, I went on ahead and I researched and I realized that Opiero Limited has a 59% stake in SHA. For you to actually go on ahead and give such a company such a stake,
percentage,
they must have a clean track record of proving that they're capable of actually executing this work. So I'm like, a company that was established July last year, 2024, has already been commissioned with a billion Kenyan shilling project. I was like, something is fishy here. I was like, who's the parent company of Opiero Limited? This is where it starts getting interesting. Opiero Limited is owned by something called Iris International Holding. Iris International Holding, I was like, okay, this is quite interesting. I was like, okay. Went on ahead, they did a bit of a deep dive of Iris International Holding. I was like, so who's the owner? It's like finding a needle in a haystack. There's no paper trail to trace it.
Who the owner.
But to my surprise, went on ahead, came across a particular outline of someone who did an expo. So guess what? Iris International Holding is owned by who? Hapa ndo karate inaenda kuchezwa. I'm like, okay, so Adani came into the country. Unachekia paper tree?
I'm seeing how this is going.
Can I say something? Mimi naweza sema hivi. In the same way I said to my ex. Yani, ilifika tu time, in as much as I was so hurt, nilimketu makofi, like, girl, that I give it up to you. Can I say something? I give it up to our president. I respect that man is so smart. Yet I give it up to him. But then I give it up to our president. Aya, tuendelee. Wacha nikuonyeshe paper trail mali nacheza. Aya, back in Forex, what people need to understand about Forex, it's not, I'm using this example, doni kueleza sasa mchezo gani nachezwa hapa hivi.
Yeah.
Forex people often think it's like, it's upfront, but it's usually not upfront. There are things called dark pools in Forex, in the Forex world. Someone who has done like quite a deep dive in the markets, they can tell you what dark pools are. So here's the thing. Money is cargo. People need to understand that. Money is just cargo. In this sort of way, how it plays out. Here's how it plays. If I distribute my cargo to the market, kuna kitu mbili, kuna vitu forces mbili zina determining value ya cargo yako. Supply na demand. This something that always car company will always do. It's like they produce a limited amount of car. Then for some random reason, these cars, in a car that is an asset that's supposed to be depreciated, out of the blues, it starts appreciating. That's something called supply demand. Using supply demand forces at your will. So if I limit supply, then there's over demand. What does that mean? There'll be an increase in value in my product. So in Forex, here's what happens. Companies, they don't want to depreciate their stocks. They don't want to devalue their cargo. You know what I mean? Stock options and all that. So what they do is, dark pools is a back-end room whereby if I want to transfer a huge amount of cargo, cash, I use dark pools. Because if I transfer this huge amount of cash through the normal channel, do you know what that does? Decreases. Remember, supply, demand. If there's an oversupply of your cargo, if there's an oversupply of euro, euro will depreciate.
Yeah.
So you can make sense.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So they use dark pools to transfer these huge amounts of assets to other companies.
Okay.
So that I still maintain my value and still I still maintain my cargo. Great. Twende. Sasa unaweza uliza, why am I bringing all this to play? Because there are dark pools that are happening with the Kenyan projects. Let me explain. Iris International Holding is being held by who? It's owned by Adani. Today, father. Adani came to Kenya. There's a law firm that's actually helping Adani establish its movement in Kenya. It's a law firm. So here's what happens. The law firm has been registered to actually help Adani operate in Kenya. So here's the thing. Kuna banta Deleme ilikuwa inacheza for quite a long period of time. I think we did that was it back in campus or something? We did like a bit of a deep dive on how corporate espionage is usually conducted. So here's the thing. I gone ahead, I established Donnell as a company. I established me as a company. So me and Donnell understand that this phone is 20 bob.
Okay.
I don't want to pay taxes in Kenya. Do you know what I do? There's a taxable income. There's an amount that if your company is not making, they won't be taxed. So you can make sense.
Yeah.
So on the books, I tell Donnell from the get-go, there's no links, there's no paper trail tying us, but we have a paper trail behind the
dark pools. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So here's what goes on. Donnell goes on ahead. Me and Donnell know this phone is 20 bob. But me and Donel namwambia eka hii phone ikwe do ngapi? So moja. Sawa. Ina make sense? So ikiwa so moja, profits zangu always zitakuwa zinaisha. Cause sijui kina make sense. Ni kama Donel akona supply ya phone. Ina make sense?
As in unapata this phone is 20 shillings but by the time it's going Linford is paying me is paying 100 bob. Meaning if he's bought it 100 bob, he can't break even because he can't make profit from it. So for example, if this phone is bought it that way, the market demands that he can't exceed selling it at beyond 30 shillings or 40 shillings. So the fact that he's bought it 100 is going on losses. But now to make it more practical, they don't exaggerate like that. They make them thinner.
Yeah.
You get, they make
so
make
like
them
60
thinner.
to 100.
So something on the lines for you not even to be able to notice it. And now they work with millions of money. So you can't necessarily tell.
You can't trace it back.
You can't trace the money
what's
back.
going on.
You can't trace if they're making profit or loss.
Aya, tuende sasa to Dani. Dani is linked to this law firm.
Yeah.
Now, this man is very smart. There's no paper trail being written whereby Ruto is on now, this and this.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how he's actually doing it. So this law firm, it's registered to who? Drum rolls. Nick. Is it Nick Ruto or Nani Ruto?
Charlene.
Si Charlene.
The Charlene.
The son who's a lawyer. Is called?
I don't know.
So it's registered to the son. Hi. So hapa ndo mchezo inachezwa. Damn, man, I give it up to you. So here's the thing. One thing that Kenyans, we're so also blinded. Na anajonini anafanya. We're so focused on the economy so much to the point whereby we don't know what's going really behind the doors. So guess what? Do you know that every single month, $1 billion plus is being facilitated to these farms?
These law firms for
these farms, Opiero, this other ID company, Safaricom, and there's another company. There are 4 companies.
Yeah, for SHA.
For SHA.
Yeah.
Kenya, we are paying a service fee of over $1 billion every month. And we're going to be paying that for the next over 20 years. So here's where these guys are smart. So here's the thing. These guys are smart. They're not playing the short game. They're in it for the long year. So you can make sense. The fight here really is not a matter of establishing Nini. The fight here is a matter of control. Of controlling Kenya in the next 10, 20
years.